Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Today I want to talk about 10 things that I like best about being married to a Filipina. I don't remember when it was when I first heard that Filipinas made great wives, but it wasn't that long ago. Just how do Filipinas make great wives? What is it about them? After marrying a Filipina in May of 2015, I have had some time to reflect on our marriage and that statement. I will tell you what I like best about being married to my Filipina. Now, please subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea for help and encouragement for men seeking a Filipina to marry, wondering what all the fuss about Filipinas is about. Comments, they are encouraged. Don't forget to get notifications for upcoming videos. Click add to complete that process. Now, it will be difficult to name one single aspect above the others, but here are 10. Companionship. Things I like best about my Filipina wife, about being married to her. Companionship. I had 3 things that I told my wife while dating that I needed in marriage. And we got married really quick, and that's why I was talking about something like that. And they all fall under the first 2 categories that I have listed. I wanted companionship, but it had been so long that I wasn't even sure what that would be like. There's a big difference between companionship when dating and when there's no commitment necessarily, since you can always date others at the same time, and marriage, where you are expected to make things work. I didn't know from experience what that was going to be like. What I have learned from my time with my amazing Isa is that the companionship I have received is better than what I thought it might be. Some of that probably has to do with her being a Filipina. My impression over the years is that Asian women, and Filipinas in particular, make great companions. That's what people say. And why? Maybe they seem to be easygoing, less drama. They seem to be easier to get along with, not as materialistic. I know it isn't always like this for everyone, but that's the impression I have. And while we were dating, my wife and I didn't talk about what we would do for leisure after we got married. I don't recall talking about our hobbies or interests or making much of it. As it turns out, we were both homebodies who would prefer to stay home from large crowds, unless it's a football game, and noise, unless it's a football game. We prefer to come home from work and stay there. Being together is enough. I tell her that's my favorite place to be, together. I don't feel like I am missing much. With her at my side, I have a satisfaction about life I didn't have when I was single. Planning something like vacation, a little getaway with her is enjoyable because it will be what we both want to do, and we'll enjoy it together. Intimacy, that's my second thing here. We could talk about this all day. I talked about this quite a bit in over 1,000 videos now. Naturally, this is something to look forward to very much, intimacy. And then another one on the list here, a younger wife. I enjoy that. This can be a good thing, but it isn't enough to hold a relationship together. I will link the playlist for you to videos about having a younger wife in the description box. I'm not suggesting marrying someone in their 20s is the only or best thing to do. That's what I was looking for, and what many others are too. But I'm convinced, watching videos from other vloggers and talking to people, that a woman who is older than her, early 20s, has advantages too. My wife is healthy, energetic, and I'm very pleased with how she manages our home. Beauty, there's another thing to list. I love looking at my wife. There are times I look at her while she's immersed in Facebook. She doesn't realize I am looking at her. I'm just admiring her eyes, her lips, her nose, her eyebrows, her soft light brown skin. Just looking at her long silky black hair while lying in bed with her is a pleasure. There's a new culture. Well, I married a woman from a different culture, so I have had to learn things about her culture and how it affects her and how it has shaped her. I can assume some things about marrying someone from where I live, but a woman from nearly 10,000 miles away, I can't assume too much. My first trip to the Philippines was a shock to me, and that was a trip I made to marry her in 2015. And sometimes we even talk about possibility of retiring in the Philippines. So new culture and new country. Before I met my wife in the Philippines, I had never considered or wanted to go to a foreign country. However, the Philippines has gotten into my heart with the beauty of it, the close families, cheerful people. Can do without the heat, though, in the Philippines summer. We have even built a home there, and I'll put a playlist for that in the description box. One of these days, it would be nice to travel throughout the Philippines more, and I've been there 5 times now, hard to believe. And that pace may slow down, but it would be nice to see some more places in the Philippines. New family, new country, new family. Here we've always had a small family in the States, and haven't been as close as Filipino families are. It's a stark contrast to them, what my wife has been exposed to. It's been a pleasure for me to meet my wife's parents, siblings, cousins, nieces, nephews. I enjoy chatting with the children on Facebook, although I'm sure they cannot understand me. And I do care for them. If something is important to my Filipino wife, then it is important to me. Retiring there in the Philippines would be anything but lonely, as we would live with some of her family. And I see this as being a good thing later in life if that's what we do. Another thing I jotted down here was new challenges, things I like best. Well, I'm not really into new challenges generally. Kind of like to know how things are and just do the same old stuff. But new challenges here. I'm not sure what I was planning on doing in retirement had I not gotten married. I had a goal to work for about 50 years, which would put me about age 69, then retiring. But that was just taking it one day at a time. Marrying my Filipina changed all that. One of our wedding songs is called "You Changed My Life in a Moment." Isn't that the truth? Whatever lies ahead that is interesting and challenging, we will be doing together. And then future. I thought, let's just jot down future. While the present has been satisfying and fulfilling to me, thanks to God and my Filipino wife, I won't have to retire at 69 and wonder what I'm going to do or who to do it with. I am already retired. Marrying my wife has changed my future. And so I see this as helping me to finish strong in life after what seems like a slow start with this relationship. Also gives me more time, since I worked for 40 years to do other things. And I just think that the future is looking good. So the risk paid off. Every day I look at photos of my wife for us together, and they're around here, around my desk. It reminds me I made the right choice. I'm also glad that I didn't give up. Be easy to do after 30 years. I'm happy that I married a woman with enough differences to make for an exciting life. I don't know if you want to marry somebody that's exactly the same. I developed very strong feelings for this little woman. It is always easier to stick behind what is behind door number 1, since you know what that is, being single, and riskier to choose door number 2, marrying a woman from so far away. However, I have experienced enough to know that Filipinos really do make great wives, especially for men who respect them and their culture. There are many things that I like about being married to my love beyond the sea.